you believe that the tax cuts, at least a number of the tax cuts that have been put forth by the Republican governor and legislature in the last 2.5 years are not sustainable. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, everybody talks about the individual tax cuts, and on the average, a person's going to see about a 4% drop in the taxes they would pay compared to what they would have done before this most recent round of tax cuts. But in the prior budget, there were tax cuts for agricultural and manufacturing that are more like 95% if they were in a corporate form, more like 100% if they're in a form that's taxed through an individual return. And that violates all the theories of tax. There's no horizontal equity, there's no vertical equity. What that means is that two people with the same income may pay dramatically different taxes because one's in a field like manufacturing and the other one's in some other line of business. Or you might have someone who makes substantially more money paying almost no taxes, while someone who's making a fairly nominal wage would be paying at least 4.2% of their taxable income. It'll actually take about $3 million once the manufacturing credits are fully phased in before a married couple would incur any tax at all on manufacturing income. And then the rate they would pay on additional income would be about 1/29th the rate that someone in the very lowest bracket would pay. You know, that's just not a sustainable or a fair system.
When I hear you talk, you're a numbers guy, and you do have a background in business in addition to having served in the public sector. You have a certified public accounting degree. You're an attorney. You've been in the banking business. You've done a lot of different things. Do you think it's a prerequisite that the Democratic candidate have some business experience if you're going to take on Scott Walker on the issue of job creation?
Well, you're going to have someone that understands budgeting and someone that thinks long-term. The short-term decisions I see now, for instance, allowing the sale of state assets and then the lease back, that helps your cash flow in the short term, but is going to hurt the state in the long term. Last biennium, we saw a lot of our debts restructured to help our cash flow in the short term, but at the expense of the long term. And the same is true with this budget, where we do $1 billion of tax cuts, but borrow $2 billion to make the cash flow.
Winnebago County Executive Mark Harris, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much. We'll be looking forward to your decision.
Thank you.